Hello and welcome to Draw with Alan. We're going to draw lots and lots of cool things, but this time we're going to draw a caveman. So, whenever I draw a caveman, I always start off with one huge big distinguishing feature that all cavemen have, and that's a huge big monobrow, big unibrow across the middle of his forehead. So we're going to start more or less in the middle of the sheet. Just about here, we're going to start with a huge, big, shaggy eyebrow. And you can make it as big and shaggy as you like. So you can start it like this. You start it with a big, shaggy eyebrow that looks a bit like that. You can make it a bit curly if you want to. Put a few curls coming off, a few hairs coming off at funny angles. There we are. And that's your caveman eyebrow. Then the next thing we're going to draw is the caveman's nose. And this is really easy to draw because if you can write a letter J, you can draw a caveman's nose. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a letter J just from the bottom of his eyebrow, from the middle of his eyebrow, from the bottom of it. We're going to draw a letter J that comes down like this and then back up a little bit like that. All right? So we're going to draw that next. And then, because cavemen didn't look after themselves, they didn't really, there was no personal grooming in those days, we're going to give them a bit of a hairy nose. So we'll draw some hairs going off the end. Just like that. Okay. Cool. The next thing we're going to draw is we're going to draw his big smile. Now, all cavemen, well, they're happy enough people. All they had to think about was eating mammoths and, well, hiding in caves away from saber-toothed tigers and stuff like that. But mostly they're happy people. So we'll draw this caveman with a huge big smile. So we're going to draw him smiling from ear to ear because he's smiling so hard. So we're going to start drawing the big smile from one side of his forehead, which is, or just underneath his eyebrow, underneath his nose, just behind his nose like that, and up to the other side, all right? So we start here where his ear would be, under his hair, when we draw his hair. We're going to draw a curve that comes down like this, underneath his nose, and up to the other side like that. So big, happy caveman, all right? And the next thing we're going to draw is we're going to draw the caveman's huge big chin. Because I always like to think that cavemen had huge chins, a bit like Desperate Dan from the Dandy. In fact, like Desperate Dan from the Dandy, most of them didn't even know their own strength. Like they'd knock on a door of a cave and the whole door would fall in. Desperate Dan was this huge big cowboy guy, wore a cowboy's hat, dressed as a cowboy, had a huge big chin with loads and loads of whiskers and stubble on it. And he ate stuff like cow pies, which is a whole pie with a cow cooked inside it and two big horns coming out the top, a little tail coming out the back. Looked delicious in some ways and in other ways a little bit disturbing. But what we're going to do is we're going to draw this caveman with a huge big chin because this caveman used to eat big meaty animals like mammoth and elk and stuff like that. So they needed big jaws to chew those animals. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a big chin like this underneath him. So it's going to be the same shape as his mouth, but it's going to go underneath his mouth like this, around like this, and up to the other side, all right? So it'll start here right beside his mouth, and it'll come down in a big curve that goes wee down like this, roundy, and up to the other side, all right? There we go, a big chin. And because this caveman, like I was saying, he wasn't too hot on personal hygiene, well, probably not so much personal hygiene, they had plenty of streams to wash in, but they didn't really, unless they were shaving with shells or little flints or something, they didn't really shave. So this guy, he's got a good bit of stubble on him. He looks like your dad or your uncle on a Saturday morning when he's getting up to bring you to dancing or bring you to football. He's going, oh, JD Mac, oh, I was out last night. Oh, JD Mac, I'm big. And he'd have a big, chin of unshaved sort of stubble on him. So we're going to draw this guy like the stubbly sort of dad or granddad or uncle who's bringing you out on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning to GAA. So there we go. He's got plenty of little stubble on his chin, just like that. Woo! There we are. Kind of looks like a fuzzy pineapple. There we go. Or a hedgehog. Got a hedgehog chin. Cool. Okay, next thing we're going to do, and this is nearly the last thing, we're going to draw this caveman's hair. Now, I've had hardly any hair. Cavemen had tons of hair, and it kind of hung down limp like this either side of their face. A bit like a curtain, or a bit like, what would you call it, a hippie sort of hairstyle where it's really long. So what we're going to do, I love long hair. I think long hair is really cool. In fact, I think any hair is really cool, but long hair that starts in the middle of his forehead and comes down like this. We're going to start it right in the middle of his forehead here, right? And we're going to draw lines coming down. A bit like if you're ever cooking spaghetti, or your mum and dad or auntie or uncle cooking spaghetti, and you take it out of the pot when it's done and it's a little bit, cools off a little bit so you don't burn your hands, but you hold it up and it's all wiggly and waggly. Imagine that landed on your head and just went straight down like that. That's what we're going to draw his hair like. We're going to draw like strands of spaghetti. So we're going to start up here, right in the middle of his forehead, and I'm going to start with one strand of spaghetti that comes down like this and wiggles and waggles down like that, just down below his chin. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to draw another strand of spaghetti that starts nearly in the same spot and comes around the side of his head and waggles down like that. And then just for good measure, we're going to draw another one. So we're going to start up here in the same place and draw a line that comes around like this and wiggles and waggles right down to the bottom. Okay. And we won't leave him baldy on the other side. What we'll do is we'll do exactly the same thing. So we're going to do 3 more strands of spaghetti. One that starts here and comes around his forehead and wiggles and waggles down like that. Okay. And then one that starts here and comes around his forehead and wiggles and waggles down like that. All right. And one last one that starts here, comes around his forehead and wiggles and waggles down like that. Cool. Now we're nearly finished our caveman. All we need to do is his shoulders, because we're just going to do his head and shoulders today. What we're going to do is his shoulders. And cavemen wore kind of furs. So they wear wolf fur and they wear mammoth fur and they wear fur from saber-toothed tigers if they're lucky enough to catch them. So what he's going to do is, what we're going to draw in our caveman is we're going to draw big furry shoulders. And not his fur, it's the fur of, say, a wolf that he's caught. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a few shaggy wolf lines down like this from his ear, because these cavemans are huge. So when I draw somebody big, I like to draw them with their head kind of a little bit hunched like that, and they walk around like this as if they're banging into doors when they're walking through them, or the tops of caves. Oh, me poor caveman head. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw him with his shoulders hunched to accentuate how tall he is. So to do that, what we're going to do is up the, maybe about the height of his eyebrows. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start here with a little shaggy line that comes down like this, and just as much as I can do on the sheet, because we're very close to the edge of the sheet, we're going to do shaggy, 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 shaggy. All right. And then over the other side, going to do exactly the same thing. Shaggy, 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 shaggy. Okay. And then just to finish off, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of texture on his furry coat. So we're just going to put a few little lines to give him a bit of texture, so it doesn't look too much like it's made out of plastic. Make it look like it's made out of actual fur. So to do that, all I'm going to do is very simply put a few little lines down like that, just to show it's a little bit furry. A few like that over here. And that is your caveman! Excellent, well done.